My name is Richard Roeill. I'm 62 years old, and I was a volunteer fireman on 9/11. I was driving. I was on the Throgs Neck Bridge, and I received a call saying, a plane just hit the effing towers again. And I said, what? So I look over, and I see smoke. I'm like, wow, look at that. And with that, New York traffic jammed. And we were sitting there in traffic, and I'm looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. It comes on the news of how bad it is, and I turn around to go back. So I called the firehouse. I said, this looks bad. This looks really bad, and called some friends up and what was going on. And with that, I see the second plane hit. And now people just stopped on the bridge. And it was backed up for a while on the bridge. And I'm looking and looking and looking. And like I said, it was a while. It wasn't. And I see the tower go down. I said, my God. I had family in there. Uh, they did not get hurt. They were there when it happened. Uh, Actually, the landing gear landed right near them.
Wow.
It was, so I was on the phone with him, and it was just get back to the firehouse because right away they were saying calling people in. And with that, as that was going on, before you know it, there were jets flying around. It was something. As tough as we are as first responders, you train for people having bad days, but you never prepare yourself for that. You have a family, and you're going there, and it wasn't a tough decision. I was going, but the thought was, what am I leaving back?
And where were you coming from? You were coming from.
I was going over the Throgs Neck Bridge. I forgot where I was going. And then, and when I saw it happen, as soon as I got off the bridge, I made a U-turn to come back and just went right to the firehouse.
How long had you been a firefighter?
Since 1980.
Wow.
So, yeah, went from one department to another one. And, I was a fireman in Merrick, Empire, Post 3.
Wow. And so you were down there for a bit, and then when did you start feeling symptoms of getting sick?
I think it was like this month, it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, maybe.
So
Uh,
very soon.
Sure. You know what it was? We were coughing a lot, and like everybody else, actually, I'm better than everybody else because there's so many that are worse than me. So that's what I mean by that. Uh, that's my cough.
Hmm.
You were caked. Your nose was caked. You had it in your mouth. You had it in your eyes, your ears. You were sweating. We did have a mask at one point, and you just could. They were clogging up so fast. They were crushing on you. The straps was snapping, and yeah, it was pretty damaging to the mind.
I bet. And so you first had trouble breathing, or you had a cough, and then what happened after that?
I had a cough. They were monitoring it, and I have I had a job also because I was volunteer fireman. It wasn't career, and I knew things weren't right, and it just progressively got something else, and it was getting very frustrating, very, very frustrating with the breathing, the coughing. It was really more the coughing and the GERD, and not realizing what everything was. And you tough it out. I wasn't a doctor's I definitely wasn't a good patient.
No one is. I don't think anyone's
you
a good
know,
patient.
uh, I was an iron worker with my dad, and if you needed a Band-Aid, you probably wouldn't have a job. So with the elevators, so yeah, it was just tough. I never got sick. I never took a sick day in my life. Proud of that. And yeah, and it just slowly progressed and got worse and worse. And then they diagnosed me with rhinitis, sinusitis, GERD. My lung was my right lung collapsing. I have emphysema, asthma, COPD, collapsed trachea. So that, you know, there's more, more to it. I have some skin issues going on that started a while ago, but I just never took care of it. So there's a lot of other things that are really. It's one thing you get the sleep apnea. I sleep with oxygen. I wear it as needed. Still, I was on oxygen full time, but I do sleep with 4 liters at night. So I just cannot breathe.
Hmm.
Just can't breathe, and you're always in pain. When I do cough, it feels like hot, rusty nails ripping through your chest. So you constantly. I'm just getting over, which I had told you. I mentioned to you since December. I was sick. Uh, it's just a lung infection I couldn't get rid of. It was a sinus infection, lung infection. It was in the bronchial, uh, and they was taking 1,000 milligrams of Levaquin down to 500. Uh, Pretty much was not bedridden, but I was like an invalid. I couldn't move. Uh, and to this day, my joints are still hurting. I'm still on, did some other steroids and more prednisone. So I put on probably about 18 pounds since December, 18, 20 pounds. So it's a lot of weight.
Well, you look great.
Thank you. I got the prednisone face, the pred face.
Well, knowing what you know now and watching it get progressively worse, what would you tell someone who, whether they be a first responder or survivor, having early symptoms, what would advice would you give them?
Knowing now, I would do it all over again. No doubt about it. I would do it over again. Even what I'm going through now, I would do it over again. But my advice is take care of yourself because the system does not care for you. You look what Jimmy Zadroga went through. If it wasn't for him and his family, his dad and his daughter that kept going and going to Washington and meetings, so on and so forth. And then John Field taking over the Feel Good Foundation, starting it. If it wasn't for them, John Field, he devoted his life to it. It's just he was an incredible leader. He didn't know if I was there or not, but he knew the job got done. He really is very calculating on how he had us work down in D.C. So in that aspect, you gotta protect yourself. Make sure you're protected. So like I could say, and train. Was I well trained? I would put my ego against anybody else's. I trained very, very hard. I had a very dangerous job. We were very, very well trained in what we did for safety.
Mm.
So safety always came first. When this happened, there wasn't that much time. There wasn't time, and like everybody else, we thought we were saving somebody, and we didn't. So there's a lot that goes into that question he had asked. But they have to be prepared. You can't just sit back and say, well, they'll take care of it. It's not going to happen to me. It's it's when it's going to happen again.
Right.
Not if it will. It's going to happen again. That's just my own personal feeling.
And has being a part of the World Trade Center Health Program, has that been helpful? Is that something that everyone should be a part of who qualifies?
Absolutely. Sign up, get checked. Get checked. It does so it takes 4 hours for the first time, and the uh, the staff there, they really bend over backwards for us. Their jobs are not easy because they don't deal with, and it's like a lot of the nurses in healthcare, they deal with sick people the same thing there. There's, whoever answers the phone, they're going to get an earful of how bad of a day somebody's having. So the program people might not think it's perfect, but it's one amazing program. I have no complaints about it. Could things be improved? We got a lot of great things in there, and they're always improving it. So I would tell anybody if you were there, doesn't matter if you were a first responder or a civilian, which they call survivor, sign up. get in the program because you just don't know the latency period for a lot of things are coming out now. Multiple myeloma, there's so many other cancers that are coming out now that we didn't have. From the GERD and everything else I have, and the coughing now caused me to have a collapsed trachea. So it's my normal cough. Excuse me. But it's and it comes and goes. It comes and goes, and I try to control it. Bringing up these memories get me a little stressed, so it brings it out.
Yeah. Well, one, thank you so much for being on here. I know it's hard for you with the cough to speak, so it means so much that you're taking the time to share your story. Um, is there, share what you want to share, but what do you think has been the toughest part of this journey for you? Has it been the physical ailments? Has it been the PTSD?
The PTSD runs rampant all the time. Through the Feel Good Foundation, we made, even though we were there with our brothers and sisters that, there working, we had a different bond with that one. And it's a struggle. It really is. You got to keep busy. Otherwise, it just hits you. At night, when you can't breathe, you have these horrific dreams. We all go, most of us go for medication for it. Sometimes you have to get it. Like right now, I'm off of it because of other medication. So you always have some issue, not a problem. You always have an issue, and it's tough. It's real. It's every day isn't the same. The last time I watched the news, I did about 2 weeks ago. I have not a clue what's going on, which I should, but it just does. It gets you very upset what's going on in the world. I do hold a lot of anger. It's stored away, professionally stored away. You're frustrated. You can't do things that you want to do. Your mind says yes, your body says no. Um, I gave up a lot of hobbies. I had to give up my living over it. So it's a struggle. And you go to doctors every week. So all you do is going to doctors, dealing with different medications, different doctors. We're helping out each other. Uh, I do get a lot of phone calls from people that I don't know. They saw me on YouTube for a video. They knew me from somewhere else, and they reach out. How can I get in the program? I'm having this issue. My father had passed away from this cancer, and he was there. We have pictures. We have proof. And so you hear a lot of horrible things. A lot of horrible things. You have young kids, and people say, "Oh, they were only a year old. They were living down there. Now they're sick. Now they're testing. Is it passing through having children?"
That's interesting.
So there's a lot with that. There's a lot with that. I don't know if it's proven yet, but I know they are looking into it. And which is also sad is that there's so many people that got sick and died before the program was uh, put in. I had a paramedic from Jamaica Hospital call me up, and the Feel Good team. I sent them to them. Different people knew about different issues and systems. And his breast cancer was 9/11. He had thyroid cancer, but his breast cancer was diagnosed, I think, a couple of days before the program was established,
Wow.
and that wasn't covered. So there are a lot of horrible stories out there. So I am blessed of what I have. It's been a rough ride.
How's your family doing with all of it?
They struggle. Uh, they definitely struggle. There's both my daughters are nurses. They were nurses at St. Francis Hospital in Port Washington at the time, and they helped me with a lot through my surgeries that I had. I had surgery of the throat, the sinuses. So they were there with everything. Uh, from not breathing, I ended up having a heart attack. So there's, it's been very stressful on them. I want to share some with you. I can't read it because it's I'm watching you right now, but I get very emotional, and that's one of the issues because now I'm off that medication. So you get like
That's okay. I'm also very emotional.
nothing wrong. My grandfather used to cry over everything.
It's a healthy thing.
It's a part, yeah. The I was very upset during COVID, and our DC team helped each other out, and we obtained a lot of safety gear for them. And I was very upset the way the hospitals are treating them. Did they have equipment? Did they not? My daughter was pregnant at the time, working COVID,
Wow.
and thank God they didn't get it. So, being trained in hazmat and biological, all that stuff, hazmat, I got, I think it was like 1,500 outfits and all different masks, really good masks, and hand sanitizer, eye protection, ear protection also, because we didn't know at the beginning COVID was. It was a bad strain.
Yeah.
That's where I feel it was a very bad strain, and we all lost family members, or some got sick. I was fortunate to be away from everyone. I was away, so which was you know good for good 3 months. But my daughter had written me. I wanted to quit, so she wrote me a note. She said, "You raised me to be the best at my job. I am the best." She said, "Don't worry about me. I'll be okay. Julianne and I will be okay." It's Angelica and Julianne, my two daughters, and they're both there when they wrote it. And she said, "You didn't fake sick when it was 9/11. That was your job. This is my job. We will be okay." And that's what she wrote me. And some funny things that they were doing afterwards. They were showing me how they were dressing, putting the PPE on, and how they were spraying themselves down. Everything was clean, and so on and so forth. That they were doing it right, and so it made me proud that they watched me to go to trainings and that we've done, and a lot of other things I did. I also worked as a rescue swimmer for quite some time, and it was for safety. So we train a lot. So and I used to drag them along. So they were very smart. And it wasn't new to them by no means, but they were very they were very. It's been tough. It's just been tough with them. I'm blessed to have grandchildren now, which keep me busy and a lot of fun. And they love going to the firehouse. I take them there.
Oh.
Let's go to the old firehouse. They get treated like royalty. And yeah, so but home life has been very difficult.
Yeah.
You're on disability. You want to do this and you can't. Uh, you see people doing things that you love to do and you can't. So it's frustrating, and you're trying to walk that fine line of being grateful and happy of where we are, what we have. Uh, oh God, it
Oh,
hurts.
I,
And you can't drink something either.
it doesn't
Just
help,
makes it
really.
worse. It makes it
Uh,
worse, yeah. So they're walking a fine line of being grateful,
mhm.
humble. You know, uh, I love to teach people different things that I learned, and different skills, and passing on when you see somebody. So I enjoy. I that's how I get my happiness. Doing that. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting that you brought up COVID and the kind of similarities that kind of the tragedy has in a way of first responders. And in that case, it was more nurses and doctors. And
yeah,
Lila Nordstrom and I, on last episode, we were talking about kind of
she's a
she's
doll.
great. She's so
She's a
smart,
doll.
so well spoken.
Brilliant,
I
brilliant.
was like talking to a genius. Um, and we were just, she was talking about kind of the parallels of more from like the response aspect of things, of like the similarities between getting back to normalcy and kind of valuing the capitalistic society over the health and of the humans that are living within the places.
Yeah,
And it's just so interesting, the parallels and how we are navigating it again in a different way.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, your daughters are amazing for going to work every day. That was a very, very hard time.
all of them.
Yeah.
The nurses that they worked with on their teams, I would send them lunch,
Mhm.
uh, breakfast, stuff like that, and they used to bathe all, because they're like they are a family, and they used to laugh. And on Nurses Day, I used to send them flowers, but a bouquet to my daughters and just flowers for everyone else.
Oh.
And they'd be calling their father up. Do you know they're getting flowers? You didn't send me nothing. So yeah, it's yeah, it was tough. Like my daughter said, I had to go in there. The doctor wouldn't go in the room.
Yeah.
The nurse was that was their job. The doctors were, they had their job to do, and it was stressful on all of them. But there's a lot of similarity to it.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to kind of segue into some uplifting
Sure.
questions, hopefully. Um, let's hope. We'll see. But the first one is, what's the most beautiful thing you've learned, whether that's doing the work you've done, this journey you have had? What has been kind of the light for you as a lesson throughout it all?
It's a tough one. Outside of friends and family, just in general, when people call you as a first responder, somebody's having a bad day. I'm not having a bad day. Somebody else is. That was rewarding. What has been more rewarding now since going to DC, and I was behind the scenes for many years.
Hmm.
I didn't go to DC till the last year. The friends that we made, and the people that we're helping. We're still helping people today, and it's extremely, extremely rewarding. It really is.
It's so beautiful.
And
Like, I feel like everyone I ask on this podcast that question, they say that it's the friends they wouldn't have made outside of this community.
yeah, when we went back to how close we are, I believe you're going to interview her, Anne-Marie Principe,
Yeah.
beautiful woman, and she worked very hard, and she's the one that helped me. She knew somebody that had tons of medical equipment, and she got, I don't know, I think it was like 15, it was over 1,000 sets of everything. And I brought that to my daughter's hospital and donated it there for them.
Wow.
So yes, everybody helps each other here. We all take each other to doctors once in a while when we can't drive, uh, to chemo, uh, just different things. So it's we all have our journeys. We're not the only ones in the world, but I think the PTSD gets all of us on that. But helping everybody else really made a difference, and it humbles you. The whole experience, but it also makes you feel really good that you're making someone's life better, like they did for me.
Hmm.
So I had a lot of people. Ray Pfeiffer, he said, "Rich, you're sick as a dog. What are you crazy? Get into the program." And I said, "No, I just don't have time. Go." And that's when I found out I had
Hmm.
everything. And then, I couldn't breathe one night, and then all day, and before you know, I was having chest pains, and here I was in the hospital. And I was lucky to have two nurses at home that just got home, that kept me awake. As I said, I was falling asleep. I was dizzy. I couldn't breathe. There was a lot of symptoms.
Yeah.
being in the field, you know what a heart attack is because you hear everybody, everybody else, the left arm. My teeth went numb, so you knew something was wrong, and I couldn't breathe, and then I was pale, and yeah, so it just humbles you.
I bet. And I have two more questions. The second one is, what is giving you the most energy right now in life?
My grandchildren, they working many hours, 6, 7 days a week, all my life, and very rarely taken off. I did a lot with my children, don't get me wrong, but I would work, do the paperwork at night, do the setup while they're sleeping, sleep a couple hours here, a couple hours there, taking them to dance, their competitions. They were Irish step dances, by the
Oh,
way.
amazing.
And you go to you sleep there, you do your paperwork. So it was always, I was always working, always working. So, yeah, the grandkids are making me want more out of life. Want me to stay here longer. I put it that. I don't want to die. Put it that way. I never felt sad for myself. Where, oh, did you ever feel like you want to kill yourself? Hell no, I don't want to. I'm afraid of dying. I am afraid of dying. So no, but you really want to stay healthy for them.
Yeah.
The giggles, the pranks, yeah, it's just beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to have aunts and uncles in their 90s. So, and yes, we were close, but now I see them more often.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of good things, in that sense.
Do you have anything
So,
exciting planned for this year, for 2024?
uh, yes, I have another grandchild coming in August.
Wow.
Hurts to laugh. Yeah, I actually have one of the 9/11 guys who just got diagnosed with his third cancer,
Wow.
very bad one, and he's more than family to me. And he always tells me a joke just to get me to cough, and he thinks it's hysterical.
And you're like, stop.
Yeah. And there's this one joke I laugh all the time. I would say it now, but I'd mess it up.
I want to know it now.
But
We got to bring him on.
yeah, yeah, it's been a wild ride. So
Yeah.
it's just been a wild ride, the whole experience. And I, I was getting ready for the interview, and I had moved a picture, and this had fallen out. This is from when we went to the Senate.
Oh, wow. That's so
I don't know if you
crazy.
could see it. Yeah. So yeah, I have it in the back loosened up. I was having the president had when after he had signed the bill, uh, he had signed two pictures for me, actually three, and I want to have that one preserved because it's actually his signature.
Mm.
So I felt it's important. It's history.
Were you there for the
Uh,
2019 hearing? Is that the what time you went
yes,
down?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Hmm.
Wow.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
Are we going to make it or not make it? We were very close. Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking,
I'm sure. Yeah.
say the least. And I really didn't think that they really cared about us. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I was on full-time oxygen back then, so it was tough. Just about passing out literally.
Mm.
Uh, Trying to walk as much as you can, and you looked at everybody else, and not one of us. I didn't hear one complaint. Not one complaint, and it was tough. You had Ray going down there. He was in a wheelchair. You had Lou Alvarez uh, down there, and you say to yourself, that was, and there's a lot of others. And you just say, well, if they could do it, I could do it. And then they're looking at me and saying the same thing in their
Mm.
heads. So it was a good experience. That's all I got to say. It was a great experience, not for me, but for the future generation. And I just wish they taught it more in school. It really went on. my memory goes a lot. I go from one subject to another a little bit. It's really, it gets trying.
Yeah.
Get the headaches, and if I have to think, I get a wicked headache. I went for the PET scan. I actually got to go for another one now and see what's going on. It's just been in and out with different tests to see why we're having what we're having.
Right.
But I'm obviously I'm not the only one. So
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful that you took the time to come on here. It means a lot. And, I think what you're saying is probably relevant to a lot of people. And so, yeah, just thank you so much for coming on.
I'm proud to be an American. I really am, and I got involved. I was a bagpiper.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
tell you that, but I was a bagpiper, and I volunteered to play for the military when they needed a piper. So it meant a lot to me, and a friend of mine and we do a lot for the
Hmm.
veterans, and it was thanking them for. First, I would have done it anyway, but a lot of these kids joined because of 9/11, so it was very dear to my heart. And the last time I played bagpipes was the inauguration of Donald Trump.
Wow.
I was asked to play uh, by Colonel Anders. He said, "What are you doing on the state?" And there was other conversations about going there and stuff. And he said, "Bring the band." And we went as the Nassau County Firefighters, pipes and drums, and we're the first volunteer fire fire band in the world.
Wow.
So we had a lot of history there, and so we went and they played, and I almost didn't make it playing it. It was very tough. I couldn't. A lot of times I had to back off when I was playing because we weren't playing right there for him. And I said I got to save my energy, and that was our last.
Wow.
So
Pretty big last
yeah,
hurrah.
yeah. And by the way, he signed a picture of me at the band playing for him, and he said, "Can I have this?" And I wanted to bring it to our museum,
Oh,
and he kept it.
oh my God.
So I asked if he wanted an autograph. Everybody looked at me like, "Are you crazy? Did you realize you just asked the president?" But he was he was first of all, I don't go politics, so he was extremely extremely sincere to all of us, and he didn't bring up anything. He asked us questions about our personal life when we met him, and so but he remembered us playing. He remembered me playing for him, which was pretty cool.
You must have been a very good player.
So no, I wasn't. It looked good. If you look good, people think you sound good.
There you go. There you go.
Get coughing here. I did donate some things to the museum.
What did you donate?
What did I donate? So after 9/11, after the museum opened up, and I told one of the curators that I had some items there, and so she said, "What do you have?" I said, "Well, I have my father's badge. He was the lead guy in Otis Elevator for the South
Oh,
Tower."
wow.
So she said, "Oh, that's very nice." I said, "I have his badge." So they wanted it for the museum. So I donated that to the museum, and that was in 1972 when I was there. I was only 10 years old, and one of the Teamsters, I think it was 292. I just remember because of the pin, and he gave me his tie clip from there, and we called the Union Hall. They said they had no idea that it even existed, so they took that, and I also had a piece that I found. It was right next to material, if you know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about. I don't want to get too graphic. And I was looking at this thing, and it was filled. It was the first year that they did a penny book up at the Windows of the World.
Hmm.
They didn't have it. They didn't even know they had one. You read it, but the bottom of the packet was filled with dust. And somebody said, if you see anything, if you see a bag and you can get it, save it just in case you know what you were breathing in.
Oh, wow.
So I took it back, and I always wondered from the material that it was near it, was it hers?
Mm,
Always haunted me.
wow.
So that's why I felt that it was important to go to the museum. So that's why I donated it there.
That's powerful.
And then the last day of the uh, rescue recovery, when it ended, I believe it was, I think it was the 17th of April, and I had started a fund for the Kenny Marino Fund. He was a childhood friend of mine that I grew up with, and he was lost at Rescue One. And that was the last day we were there. We were just going sifting through stuff, went back to the church, and I went to say a prayer. Before you know it, I woke up. It was 2 hours later. And then went to Oceanside High School and started his Memorial Scholarship Fund. So there's a lot of little things that went on.
It's beautiful.
That's about it.
Well, thank you for everything you've done and everything you continue to do. It's inspiring, and I've been, I was talking to Bridget Gormley, and I was telling her, all of the people I've spoken to are some of the bravest people
What a beautiful
that
girl.
I
What a
know.
beautiful
She
girl.
is. She is truly.
Those kids are the bravest ones. What they went through,
Yeah.
and what they're going through. It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Time doesn't heal the wounds. They're still there. And we just can't forget to leave any of our fellow people behind. And hopefully it never happens again. And just be kind to everybody else. Just be kind. Can't hurt. Doesn't cost anything.
I agree. I think that's a perfect place to end it.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, thank you so much
yeah.
again.
Thank you. Thank you.